ground-based missile defense elements. Washington claims it's to counter threats from Iran and North Korea. Russia feels it could neutralize its nuclear deterrent. Moscow's repeatedly asked for written NATO guarantees but received nothing so far. Time to take in more of Russia close up, and today we're on a health kick. We're in the Penza region on the East European plain, although most of its territory lies in the Volga highlands. The capital is also called Penza. It was founded as a small fortress in the 17th century and has been growing ever since. The city today is striving to be one of Russia's safest and healthiest by order of the governor. RT's Igor Ogorodnev went to find out why.
Almost every day the government is telling us that we should eat more fruit and vegetables, drink less, exercise more. Of course, many people ignore these recommendations. In fact, working for the government, it must be very frustrating, always telling people to do stuff but having no way of enforcing it. Now, what would happen if you could actually make people follow through and be more healthy? Well, officials everywhere no longer have to wonder, because in Penza, that's exactly what the governor has done.
Getting healthier, whether they like it or not. Every weekday morning at 10 a.m., the tannoy in state institutions across Penza begins a familiar announcement. The anonymous but cheerful voice recites what are by now familiar exercises. At the governor's instructions, no one is allowed to slack off. Some go beyond what's required.
This has returned me to my youth and my youth to me. We love our governor's initiatives.
Officials in this district have been told to leave the company car in the garage and get on their bikes. Now all government business is performed from the saddle. The head of the local administration says the initiative has not only improved health, but brought officials closer to the people.
I asked the governor, can we have one more car to help us with our duties? He said, you can have 3, 2 scooters and a bike, so that your officials can observe their people. See who is up to what, who is leaving rubbish outside, for example.
Some critics have said the government's compulsory initiatives, reminiscent of those in Soviet times, violate people's rights. But a sports-mad former motorbike rider denies the accusations.
Am I abusing human rights? The only way I'm abusing human rights is by not giving people the opportunity to do even more physical exercise.
As the clock strikes 10, the police are out in force, looking for bad children. The governor has imposed a curfew for unsupervised under-16s.
I do not think it is a waste of police time at all. Those children we've arrested and returned to their homes. We haven't seen them out on the streets again.
And on this day, there are no violators at all.
As the youth patrol wraps up its final round, the citizens of Penza can sleep well at last, safe in the knowledge that with each passing day, they're healthier, more conscientious, and their streets are increasingly free of feral youth. I'm here with Colin Hinchley, who's been living here for 14 years, and we've just heard about all these health measures and everything else that the governor is suggesting. Now, with somebody with an outsider perspective, what's your take on this? Can you take this seriously?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the governor's been very proactive. There's a lot of investment gone into new sports complexes, sports programs, particularly with companies as well. So yeah, it's been very active, and there's quite a few new hospitals been built and diagnostic centres. So yeah, there's been some real results. He's a very active governor.
One of the things that the governor did tell me is that the reason he's introducing this is to make the area more attractive for investment, that a healthier workforce is a more attractive one. I mean, do you think that it's one of the criteria in which you evaluate your people? Do you ask them about their drinking habits, their smoking habits and so on when you take people on?
Absolutely. I mean, drinking is obviously a very serious thing, and if anybody drinks at work or comes in drunk, then they're fired immediately. So that's a strict rule from that perspective. In terms of, you know, activeness, sport, it's always good for the mind. It's good and healthy. So people with a good regime and an active regime usually produces better workers. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Thank you, Colin Hinchley, talking about the governor's health initiatives.
More of Russia for you to discover on our website, RT.com. Here's what's a click away right now. The king of talk, American Larry King, speaks with RT about one of his final primetime interviews with Russia's Prime Minister Vladimir Putin.